Listen, brother, few things sting more than realizing the woman you care about is slowly losing interest. The calls get shorter, the texts get drier, and the warmth you once felt starts to fade. But here's the truth. The way you react in this moment will decide everything. Handle it wrong, and you'll push her further away. Handle it right, and you'll either reignite her attraction or walk away with your dignity untouched. Stay with me till the end, because I'm about to reveal exactly how high value men respond when a woman starts pulling away. 1. Spotting the early signs. The first step, my brother, is awareness. You cannot fix what you refuse to acknowledge. Too many men ignore the signs because they're afraid of facing the truth. But if you pay attention, her behavior will tell you everything you need to know. Think back to how she acted when things were fresh. She was eager to talk to you. She responded quickly to your texts. She wanted to spend time with you, and she seemed genuinely excited about your presence. Compare that to now. Do you notice a difference? Here are the most common signs. She's losing interest. She texts you less and replies slower, and her messages go from full of emojis and energy to short, dry responses like okay or K. Conversations that used to flow easily now feel forced. She no longer calls just to hear your voice, and when you call, she sometimes sounds distracted or rushed. Physical affection starts to fade. She's not as touchy, not as playful, and intimacy becomes less frequent. Instead of initiating plans, she leaves everything up to you, and sometimes even cancels or avoids meeting altogether. Even her body language tells a story. She faces her phone more than she faces you. She doesn't hold eye contact the way she used to, and those little affectionate gestures, touching your arm, holding your hand, leaning close, start to vanish. Here's the key. When you see these changes, don't panic. Don't confront her with, "Why are you acting different?" But that only makes things worse. Instead, observe calmly, because awareness gives you options. When you notice early, you can make adjustments without desperation. But when you deny it, you wake up one day realizing you've been investing in a relationship that's already slipping away. Think of it like driving a car. If your fuel light comes on, that's a warning sign. If you ignore it, eventually the car stops. Relationships are no different. The signs are the warning lights. Ignore them and you'll stall. Recognize them, and you can either refuel or decide it's time to take a different road. Either way, you stay in control. 2. Why women lose interest. Now let's talk about the why. Why do women lose interest? See, a lot of men make the mistake of thinking a woman just wakes up one morning and decides, "I don't like him anymore." But that's not how attraction works. Interest doesn't vanish overnight. It fades slowly, like a candle burning out. And most of the time, you'll see the smoke long before the flame dies. There are several reasons this happens, and you need to understand them so you don't take it personally every single time. Sometimes she loses interest because she feels taken for granted. In the beginning, you were exciting, unpredictable, and you gave her your best self. But as time went on, maybe you got comfortable. You stopped putting in effort. You stopped making her feel special. And when effort dies, so does attraction. Other times, it's about predictability. At first you were mysterious. She couldn't quite figure you out, and that kept her hooked. But then she got used to you. Every conversation sounded the same. Every date was routine, and every day felt predictable. Women crave emotional variety, and when you remove that, they start to drift. There's also another big one, leadership and ambition. Women are drawn to men who are going somewhere, men who are growing, men who inspire them to rise higher. The moment you stop growing, stop leading, or start becoming passive, she feels it. And nothing turns a woman off faster than a man who seems lost in his own life. And of course, sometimes it's not even about you. Life happens. She might be stressed from work, distracted by social media, influenced by friends, or just going through personal changes. But here's the bottom line. Attraction is emotional, not logical. It's not about whether you're a good man on paper. It's about how she feels when she's around you. And if those feelings shift, her interest shifts. So don't get stuck asking, "Why is she doing this to me?" Instead ask, "What kind of energy am I giving off right now?" What version of myself is she experiencing? And because once you take responsibility for your presence, you can shift the dynamic back in your favor. 3. The wrong reactions most men have. Here's where most men mess up. The moment they notice her pulling away, panic kicks in. And panic is the enemy of attraction. Instead of staying calm, they react emotionally, and in doing so, they accelerate the very outcome they fear. Let me paint you a picture. She starts texting less, and instead of matching her pace, you start blowing up her phone. 2 texts, 3 texts, maybe even calling when she doesn't reply. You convince yourself that if you just show her how much you care, she'll come back. But from her side, all she sees is desperation. And desperation is the fastest way to kill respect. Some men go down the path of emotional essays, long paragraphs trying to explain their feelings, trying to guilt her into staying, or asking, "Do you even love me anymore?" Listen, brother, that doesn't inspire her. It doesn't reignite attraction. It just makes her feel pressured, and pressure suffocates interest. Then there are the men who try to buy their way back into her heart. Flowers, gifts, money, fancy dinners, all in the hope that she'll remember why she liked them in the first place. But attraction can't be purchased. If she's losing interest, gifts won't fix it. They'll only highlight how hard you're trying to compensate. And let's not forget jealousy and control. You start asking, "Where were you? Who were you with? Why didn't you answer?" And thinking that if you keep tabs on her, you'll somehow pull her closer. But in reality, you're pushing her further away. Because nothing suffocates a woman's interest more than a man who acts insecure. Here's the truth: when she pulls back and you start chasing harder, it confirms her doubts. She starts thinking, if he's this desperate, maybe he's not as valuable as I thought. Instead of reminding her of your worth, you remind her that she might have made the right choice by pulling away. So hear me clearly: never beg, never panic, and never let her see you lose composure. Because the moment you do, you give away all your power. And once respect is gone, it's almost impossible to get it back. Or the right reaction: pull back with dignity. All right, brother, now that we've covered what not to do, let's talk about the right way to react. This is where real men separate themselves from boys. When you notice she's losing interest, your instinct may be to chase harder, but the strongest move you can make is the opposite. Pull back with dignity. What does that mean? It means you match her energy not out of spite, but out of self-respect. If she texts less, you text less. If she cancels plans, you don't pout. You simply say, "No worries, let me know when you're free." Then you move on with your day. If she stops initiating calls, you don't bombard her. You allow the silence to exist, and you use that space to focus on yourself. This isn't about playing games. It's not about manipulation. It's about balance. Relationships work like a dance. Imagine dancing with someone who suddenly takes a step back. If you lunge forward desperately to keep the connection, you throw off the rhythm and step on their toes. But if you pause, hold your ground, and let them come back into step, the dance flows again. That's how attraction works. During this time, redirect your energy inward. Instead of worrying about why she's not giving you attention, give that attention to yourself. Hit the gym harder, push on your goals, grow your business, improve your style, read, learn, level up. When she sees that her distance doesn't break you, but instead motivates you, that's when respect returns. And here's the paradox: when you stop chasing, she starts wondering. When you become less available, she begins to ask herself questions. Why isn't he checking up on me like before? What's he doing? Who is he with? And that curiosity can reignite the very spark that was fading. The key is dignity. You don't punish her, you don't ignore her, and you don't beg. You simply adjust your energy, focus on your mission, and let her see that your world keeps moving, with or without her full attention. That's what makes her take a second look. Have rebuilding attraction. Now let's say you've pulled back. You've matched her energy, and you've redirected your focus. The next step is rebuilding attraction. Because here's the truth: just because she's pulling away doesn't mean it's over. Interest can be reignited, but only if you do it the right way. First, bring back mystery. In the early days, part of what drew her in was the fact that she didn't fully know you. She wondered about you, she thought about you, and she was curious about your life. Over time, maybe you overshared, maybe you became too predictable. To rebuild attraction, you need to bring some of that mystery back. Don't update her on every detail of your day. Let her wonder what you're doing and who you're with. Second, add unpredictability. Stop doing the same routine over and over. If every date is dinner and a movie, she'll get bored. Switch it up. Take her somewhere new. Try an activity she's never done. Surprise her with spontaneity. Women feed off emotions, and nothing sparks emotion like surprise. Third, focus on your physical presence. Like it or not, attraction has a visual component. Get a fresh haircut. Improve your wardrobe. Hit the gym consistently. Stand taller, walk with confidence, and carry yourself like a man who values himself. When she sees you leveling up physically, it reminds her of why she was drawn to you in the first place. Most importantly, when you do spend time with her, bring positive energy. Don't complain about her distance. Don't make every hangout a therapy session where you dissect what's wrong. Instead, focus on making her laugh, making her feel feminine, and making her associate you with joy. Remember this. People don't remember every word you say, but they never forget how you make them feel. Rebuilding attraction isn't about forcing her to love you again. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. So being around you feels exciting, fulfilling, and magnetic. That's how you turn fading interest back into desire. 6. Knowing when to walk away. Brother, this is one of the hardest lessons to learn, but it's also one of the most important. Sometimes, no matter what you do, no matter how much you pull back, level up, or rebuild attraction, her interest doesn't return. And that's when you have to know deep in your core when to walk away. See, a lot of men stay too long in dead relationships because they're afraid. Afraid of being alone, afraid of starting over, afraid of losing the comfort they've built with her. But here's the truth. Staying with someone who has already checked out is worse than being single. It drains your energy, kills your confidence, and makes you forget who you are. The signs are usually clear. If she constantly makes excuses to avoid you, if she rarely responds with warmth, if she disrespects your time and effort repeatedly, and if she shows zero effort to meet you halfway, then she's telling you, without words, that she's done. And begging her to stay won't change that. Walking away doesn't mean you didn't love her. Walking away means you love yourself more. You're sending a message, not just to her but to yourself, that your dignity is non-negotiable. And here's the paradox. Sometimes walking away is what makes her realize what she's about to lose. When she sees that you have the strength to leave instead of clinging, it can shock her back into respect. But even if it doesn't bring her back, you still win. Because you've freed yourself from a one-sided relationship, and you've made space for someone who truly values you. Remember this, rejection is not the end of your story. It's redirection. It's life moving you away from what isn't meant for you, so you can step into what is. The man who has the strength to walk away never loses. He either regains her respect or opens the door to a woman who won't make him question his worth. 7. Final mindset shift. Now let's land this plane with the mindset you need to carry moving forward. Because all the tactics in the world mean nothing if your mindset is weak. Here's the truth you must never forget. Never fear losing a woman. Fear losing yourself while trying to keep her. That's the mistake too many men make. They bend, they break, and they compromise their self-respect in order to hold on to someone who's already slipping away. And in the process, they destroy their own identity. You've got to understand, interest will always rise and fall. It's part of human nature. Even in the strongest relationships, there are seasons when things feel distant. The difference between men who keep respect and those who lose it is in how they respond to these shifts. A man who panics, chases, and begs will always lose. But a man who stays grounded, calm, and focused on his mission will always maintain his value. Think about it like a flame. Attraction is like fire. It flickers, it rises, it falls. Your job isn't to panic every time the flame dims. Your job is to keep being the kind of man who naturally sparks fire. That means staying ambitious, staying confident, staying disciplined, and never making a woman the center of your universe. High-value men don't chase validation. They don't measure their worth by whether one woman is fully invested or not. They know their value, and they keep building their life in a way that attracts not just women, but opportunities, respect, and success. So shift your mindset from how do I keep her interested into how do I keep becoming a man worth being interested in? Because when you operate from that frame, you stop worrying about who's pulling away, and you start focusing on who's drawn in by your growth. And trust me, brother, when you become that man, you'll never have to beg for interest again. Listen, brother, the way you react when she starts pulling away defines the kind of man you are. You can panic, beg, and lose yourself, or you can remain calm, pull back with dignity, and focus on your growth. The choice is yours, and remember this, your value doesn't decrease just because someone stops seeing it. A diamond in the dark is still a diamond. Keep shining. She'll either come back to the light, or you'll attract someone who never stops appreciating it.